All right, guys, welcome to the podcast. On today's show, we're talking to Suntide. Thanks for joining. First of all, cheers. We're going to be drinking during this pod, everyone. We have a canned mimosa.
Cheers.
Either one of you can take this question. What does the company do?
Yeah, so we are Suntide Mimosas. We're a small family-owned...
Sorry, that's good.
Yeah, you like it?
That's peach. Okay,
Yeah.
Peach is good.
It's our
That's
best
one of
seller.
my favorites, for sure.
Best
All
seller.
right. All right, guys, we got a good product here.
We're a small family-owned and operated company out of Encinitas, San Diego. It's just me, my brother, my mom, and my sister, so it's truly...
Family biz.
Truly family.
biz.
Awesome.
Yep.
And we do canned mimosas, you know, like you'd make for yourself, all natural ingredients. It's just sparkling wine and real juice. And we've been doing this for about 3.5 years now, and it's kind of our first endeavor into the alcohol industry, the alcohol business, and it's been fun, and we've learned a lot, and yeah, it's been going well.
What made you guys want to start this company? Like, what did you see in the market? What was missing?
Yeah, so actually we were at Stanford. Our sister was at Berkeley. And
Great schools.
Yeah,
Smart family.
Pretty good schools.
Okay.
Yeah, we tried hard.
Yeah.
And she wasn't really a big drinker, and she was going to the tailgates and with her sorority sisters, and
Yeah.
she didn't want to drink vodka at 9 a.m.
Before the
So,
tailgates and stuff like that.
Before the tailgates
you
and
know.
the big
Sure.
games.
They start
So
early.
She wanted something that was light and fun, and there was no national can mimosa. There still is no national can mimosa.
Interesting.
And we're trying to become like when you think of mimosa, you think of Suntide,
Yeah.
like national can mimosa.
Yeah.
And she was like, it's only 2 ingredients. Let's try to put it in a can and use, real flavors, real tastes, all that. And that's what we did.
So she's just trying to solve her own problem.
Exactly.
much.
And,
Okay.
and then we were like, I agree with you. We were in fraternities at the time.
Yeah.
And we were at parties. People were drinking White Claw and High Noon and all these RTDs. And there were no like canned mimosas. So we were like, this is a great idea. She got some distributors on board, and we were like, we're gonna hop on and help her out. And this is gonna be a full on, family affair.
What was the hard part of like the first what was the first product you guys launched or tried to cook up in your kitchen or something? What
Yeah,
was it?
so we grew up as a very like artistic. Our mom's an artist, so
Okay.
growing up we were
what
always
kind of art?
She does oil paintings,
Okay.
Yeah,
kind of landscapes.
Really nice. Okay,
landscapes.
awesome.
But growing up, she really encouraged us to be as creative as possible. Like for school projects, we built like a 10-foot catapult for one. Just always kind of doing these little side projects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so when my sister came back with this idea, it was actually right when the pandemic hit. So we had a lot of free time on our hands.
Sure.
She came back, and I remember very early on, she like kind of mocked up what she thought it might look like. And she printed it out and wrapped it around a White Claw can.
Okay.
And so that's how it first started. And obviously at that
like
point,
that.
we didn't know anything about the alcohol industry, right?
Sure.
So we were looking up like, bulk champagne orders, this and that, like
Yeah.
trying to like, see how we might be able to do it. And from there, it was all about just getting in contact with the right people and getting us like advice on what the process actually looks like. We had no idea.
Sure.
And kind of taking the steps to making this
Yeah.
a real...
Knowledge, yeah.
Yeah.
Finding people that knew more than us is really
Totally.
the skill of, I feel like, business and entrepreneurship is figuring
That's
out
the whole game.
who knows more than you.
Yeah.
And trying to, convince them that they believe in you.
Yeah.
That's what we did early on.
My brain always works. It goes like, is there a human in the entire history of this planet that has done what I'm trying to do?
Yeah.
And the answer is always yes.
Definitely,
And then it
yes.
makes me
A lot
feel
of
better,
humans.
right? I'm like, oh, that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then 2, like, how do I get in touch with like one of those people? Because there's a
Yeah.
lot of them. And so it makes my life easier to do that. Almost like a hack. You mentioned, so your mom's an artist. One of the things I talk to people about who will categorize me as a businessman is I really think we're all just creatives.
Yeah.
And the creatives that sort of get into the business world, they just learn a new language, which the world, America, calls business.
Yeah.
But it's just a language.
Right.
Just like piano is a language, just like music's a language.
100%.
I
Right?
completely agree. And
Okay.
I think music is kind of what I think of first as like creative and, art in general is like conveying your idea and making it relatable to other people. And that's really what we're trying to do is
That's
like
right.
come out with a product that we like
Yeah.
and hopefully other people will like it too.
Yeah, hopefully the world agrees, or
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
people agree. Yeah. All right, so what was your first step? Like, of all the SKUs, how many SKUs do you have now?
So we have a tropical pack with 4 new flavors, and then we have our original.
That's our new one.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's brand new. And then we have our original 3. So we have our classic, peach, and raspberry as well.
What was the first one you guys launched with?
So-
Orange, yeah. We call it the classic.
The classic.
Because it's like,
Yeah.
you think of mimosa, you think orange,
Yeah.
orange juice and champagne. So we were like classic mimosa.
Yeah. We actually came out with 2 right off the bat. It was the peach and the orange.
Peach, often referred to as like the Bellini, but we
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
really good.
Yeah, our peach is our best seller, but originally, like just starting out, we were thinking about the flavors, thinking about where do we want to take this, in a couple of years, just keeping it open.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of like there's so many things you can think about when you're starting a business, and it's very overwhelming.
At what point did you guys maybe realize you were onto something? Was it just taste tests and the way people were reacting to it? What was the moment or moments where you guys were like, all right, I think it's given, not that you didn't know, but at least maybe it gave you the confidence to be a little more secure in taking the next step?
Yeah, I think there was kind of two aha moments for me, for sure. The first was the recognition that there was no national mimosa, and the fact that mimosa is like, everyone already knows what a mimosa is for the most part, right? It already has kind of its built-in experiences and brand to it. And I was like, and I saw all these other RTDs coming out, like on the rocks or coming out with all these canned cocktails. I'm like, well, why can't we do something like that, right?
Yeah.
And the second answer to that question would be, when we finally got people to try our product, and they're like, wow, this is like you just said right there.
It's good.
This is really good. And, every time we do a tasting or an event and are in the field or watching people try it in front of us and getting that positive feedback is just like really what keeps me going and keeps us going in general, I think.
What's the thing that you're seeing people have the most trouble with? Like in terms of, I guess right now the way I look at it, this is my deduction, is if I'm in the space of canned alcoholic drinks,
right,
there's already so many players that have sort of created an expectation, whether you mentioned White Claw or High Noon. So you sort of have this expectation of like, all right, first it was a beer in a can. Everyone knew that felt normal. Then human behavior shifted based on all these companies sort of educating the customer on like canned cocktails. Is that the thing that you guys sort of they struggle with? It's like, what's a canned mimosa? Is that a thing?
Yeah, so I think that when we got into the space, we knew that it's called RTD. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's like ready to drink beverages.
Yep.
It was booming.
Yeah.
You have White Claw, High Noon, all these players. We knew that there was money here, but we also saw a gap, and there wasn't a canned mimosa. There was a lot of seltzers. There's a lot of like tequila seltzer, vodka seltzer, but there was no using real juice with wine and sparkling wine. So we just jumped in and we were like, let's do it. Let's go for it. And it's still a space that's being proven. I mean, there isn't really a big canned mimosa market as far as we're trying to build that out.
That's right.
We're trying to make people believe that, we are the canned mimosa.
So how do you do it? So now that you have the product, things are looking good. You're, the sample of friends, sample of family like it. And then how do you decide to market it? Because you can go a million ways, right?
Yeah.
First of all, let's do this. Unpack the name for me and then walk me through the branding and sort of the angle you guys are trying to work from a marketing perspective.
Yeah, so I do a lot of the branding with my sister. It's obviously a team effort. We pull on a lot of creators and people. But to be honest, she actually came up with the idea and the name and the original packaging. Like our packaging you see right here it's always been like this. And we wanted to keep it like simple label. You walk into stores and you get overwhelmed with all the IPAs and the colors and like you said, like there's just so many choices. But at the end of the day, the clean lines and the simple product, the simple taste.
Yeah.
People know what it is.
It's also representative of what's in the can. It's just sparkling wine and real juice. It's simple.
Yeah, it's simple.
Inherently.
Yeah. But as far as like branding goes, a lot of our branding is it's social media these days. Social media is the key to success in most industries, I think.
What's the angle? Like who's
our audience?
Yeah, is it because you mentioned your sister. So that's a real problem. That's a real like, is that the ideal customer? It could be.
Yeah, I think that so we were making a product for ourselves, and we wanted to make a product that was authentic to the founders. And I think that that's really the key to successful businesses, is that they're making something that's authentic and is genuine and isn't tailored to whatever they think is needed, right?
Sure.
We're making something that we wanted and our friends wanted. And at the end of the day, I think that's our biggest indicator of like knowing what we're doing, means something. And we know that there's value here because we love it at parties. We love canned mimosas,
So we're trying
our demographic's
to redefine.
like us.
Yeah, it's you. Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you talk to companies or like right now, right? So you mentioned before you guys are trying to you're trying to land a partner basically.
Yeah.
And so when you guys are talking to them, what's the thing that they don't understand? Or what is it that they're having like, oh, are we sure? What's the hesitancy on their side
like
to partner up?
distributors or
distributors or even
investors
just stores?
I would say from a distributor standpoint or even like a chain standpoint, it's like they want their sure things, because there's with a smaller brand like ours and any like new emerging brand, like they would have to actually go out and sell it when that's a hard sell for them when they have their Coronas, their Budweisers, where they just show up to the liquor store with their orders and it's like a logistics company at that point.
Yeah.
They're not selling anything. Mm-hmm. Where with ours, we're new, we need to get the word out, and that's where marketing comes into play too. It's like it's a little bit more difficult for them. So that's why they want the chain data. Like they want us to get into chains on our own. Yeah. Just so they know that they have that to rely on, to fall back on, that there's always going to be this chain reordering without them actually having to do any work,
Yeah. I think distributors are looking for winners, obviously, and it's nice for them to know that you have big marketing budgets, you have celebrities, this and that. But also at the end of the day, if the product isn't good and the liquid in the can isn't good, that's right, it doesn't matter what celebrity is backing it. Yeah. And I think that we are telling a story that is genuine to us. And I think people see right through when you see founders, celebrity tequila companies starting. Yeah. And it's just like the founders, and the celebrities probably never even tried the drink, or they're not close to the founders, or they see right through that. So we're trying to make something that, is genuine.
Are you guys looking for capital?
You're
raising capital?
So as far as capital goes, and honestly in the alcohol industry, it's not like tech where you go to venture right away. It's better to stay with private investors or angel investors or even friends and family is ideal. Yep. And we've been fortunate enough to know people that believe in us, and it's been all private angel.
Okay. We've kept it mostly within friends and family, which has allowed us to maintain like complete control of the company and kind of take it in the direction that we want to, which has been nice. And obviously the downside of that is that we don't have, the marketing budget to, get a Super Bowl ad or.
Sure. Not yet.
But it just takes time,
And that's obviously something that we might be willing to do in the future, but
it's patience.
As of now.
So what's the playbook? What's the strategy now? How do you guys do it with the budget you guys have?
So a lot of it you're talking about branding?
Anything, getting the word out, getting the word out to know about
getting people
Suntide.
To know about it. Right now, it's Instagram and social media, and it's really intentional spending on digital media and Instagram. It can be really easy to get tempted to be like, we're going to get 10 billboards in LA.
Of course.
We're going to get 10 billboards in San Diego. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a way to track how it's affecting your sales at the retail level, you shouldn't be spending any marketing money on that. And in alcohol, it's not like where you're selling online, like you're selling clothing and you have a direct to consumer. They click on it, you can count the clicks, and then they buy it. There's no instant conversion. Alcohol, we sell in stores. It's very traditional distribution channels. So we have to be patient. We will work up to the Super Bowl ad, but you have to be hitting a certain number in sales before we can justify that.
Yeah, and then so that's the marketing side. And then in terms of like getting our word out to distributors, it's a lot of just like calling them and
networking,
pitching our product and getting in connection with a friend of a friend, or like getting introduced. Really, this is a big way to do it.
Have you guys heard of Sky Duster? That beer company?
I've heard of Space Dust.
Okay. So there's a company called Sky Duster here in LA. Okay. So they're a local company, and they were launching, and they were going after the lager, the IPA, and the Pilsner, which is like what I would call the death trap of any business, because there's already so many companies competing in that space.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I met them, and it's like I tried the great lager, great IPA, great Pilsner, all great, but they have to replace somebody, because these are the three most asked for beers at any bar, any restaurant.
Yeah.
And so I asked them, like, how are you guys doing it? Because right now they're almost, I don't know, they're in like every restaurant and bar here in Los Angeles carries them now. Mm-hmm. And so I said, how did you guys do it? And they're like you guys, like young guys, really exciting, super fun, Mm-hmm. I was like, how'd you guys do it? And they're like, well, when people think beer, there's no LA beer. No one's owned Los Angeles homegrown beer.
There's definitely San Diego beers.
There's San Diego beer.
Portland. Right next door.
That's what they said. Yeah. Portland, right? And so there's no LA beer.
That's a good point.
And so what they said was like, we're going to become that. And very interesting angle. And I was like, got it. So it's not that they're supporting the beer. It's that it's from LA. Yeah. It's a local.
It's a brand.
It's a brand. And so they went all about creating a local brand. Sky Duster is a type of palm tree. And so it all makes sense from a branding perspective. And they've been able to like gross. So I said, invite me to one of your events that you guys have so I can see how you guys do it because I'm really curious. And so they have an event where the bar hasn't said yes to them yet. Right. And so they're trying to get in this bar, hasn't said yes. Like, oh, just let us use like your back patio. You pick the day, Tuesday, doesn't matter. And like, we'll show up. And so at that event, they'll have coolers of their product. All of a sudden, all their bartenders are tasting the product. They'll invite all the distributors that they're trying to work with to that event.
Yeah.
They have merch galore. So they have like all these hats, everyone all
merch
of a sudden.
Merch is important for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, people love merch.
And their team is so fun. And so it's like all of a sudden you're at this backyard picnic.
Drinking.
You
know.
Just having a good time.
And all of a sudden, that's all it is.
Yeah.
And like next thing you know, oh yeah, we'll carry this. Love you guys. Let's go remove the tap handle right now. They go do it right there.
Yeah.
And it's just a vibe. And no one's selling anything. It's just like, oh yeah, let's really be about this. Really interesting. And, and I watched that happen. I'm like, I've never seen anything like that.
I think that reflects on the alcohol industry and how we're working with a product that you can actually enjoy and throw a party around. Yeah. You're actually drinking it. Versus if we were selling like, you know, whatever, bags or clothing, it would be a lot harder because, you know, it brings people together, ideally, you know, alcohol does at the end of the day. And we're trying to do that.
On top of that, one thing that we've said from the beginning is that mimosas are also inherently celebratory. Like you crack them for graduations or you're going to like celebrate a game or this and that. And so we've kind of played into that as well. You know, it's like getting people together and having a good time. Is definitely kind of what we're trying to do.
What's the hard part? Is it the SKUs? Like, is it the juice of the canning? Is there a hard part?
I'd say production, and then
you
can talk about production. Production is pretty hard.
Yeah, production is, you know, well, it was hard at first just because I'm the CFO. I'm in charge of more of the logistics and the finance side of things, and production runs, you know, order procurement and stuff like that, freight.
Yeah.
And going into it, you know, it's like kind of a whole new world that I had no clue about. But
totally.
I like to think that after the, you know, last 2 years, I've got a pretty good handle on it.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of, you know, forecasting about, you know, how much we need to make because you obviously don't want to tie up your cash flow and inventory. And then also getting all the ingredients there on time was a big thing because you're dealing with probably 3 or 4 or 5 different flavor companies and getting it there at the same date. And all these distributors or these co-packers is what they're called, have these timelines where you're like, you have 3 days, everything needs to be there by.
Sure.
So that was definitely a learning curve.
And then if you overproduce, you have to warehouse that. And if you underproduce and you're not meeting demand. I think that it's like any business, any industry, it's like meeting supply and demand and figuring out how much do we need to produce.
Can you keg it?
Sparkling wine is we've heard mixed answers. It's like some people are like, yeah, of course you can. And then other people are like, no, you can't.
Okay.
So it's something that we've looked into. And that I think would be good for the on-premise.
Yeah.
But we haven't necessarily done a full deep dive into it yet.
Yeah. So where are people meeting you guys as a brand now? Is it in store?
What
you
market?
Guys doing tastings?
Where are people buying it?
Yeah.
We do our sales really off-premise, like not restaurants or bars, but more like liquor stores or
grocery stores.
Okay. And we invest a lot into tastings, and that's the best way to support a distributor is being like liquid to lips is what we call it.
Liquid to lips.
Yeah, I mean it's the best form of marketing. You watch someone walk into the store, and they drink your product, and you see the reaction, and you get instant feedback. They get to try it, and it's the best versus like an ad. You're trying to figure out what they want, but. The best way to do it is just get the liquid to the lips.
You also, like, in doing these tastings, you kind of create that connection with the person, like a memory almost. Like, there's so many different brands out there. Like, if they're just walking by us, they're not going to know that they even want it because they're not.
That's right.
There's just so many options. So once we create that moment where they're trying it and that kind of memory, that's kind of the best way to get people to buy it.
And meeting the founders, too. I think it's important for us getting our hands dirty constantly and just trying to get out there into the market and actually meet the consumer. We've worked thousands of tastings, and sometimes it's hard, but also it's always rewarding for us because it's entrepreneurial really at the end of the day. Like we're out there seeing the consumer, seeing them interact with our product, and we're getting feedback, and we're also getting the consumer to try it. So I think tastings and getting your hands dirty and doing as much as you can, really.
How have you guys seen the non-alcoholic market like when you're even talking to investors or anybody, how have you seen that side of the market impact your business, if at all?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a trending thing.
It's a trending thing,
It's definitely, I think as of like the last 2 years, consumers have really shifted to being more health conscious. And along with that, you see the rise of the non-alcoholic drinks. And that's hasn't necessarily impacted us more than it's impacted like the alcohol industry as a whole, right?
Yeah.
But it's definitely like an emerging segment, and I see all these brands come up like every day. There's a new one.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting to watch it kind of rise like over the past couple of years.
Yeah, there's a lot of money in the space. There's no. What's interesting about that space is there's no like kingmaker, and so what I mean by that is, in most markets, like a clear winner will emerge. And
Yeah.
right now, there's like I don't know, 10 phony Negronis out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But you
A lot of
don't know
mocktails.
You don't know which one's good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Because like they all look the same.
Yeah.
And they're all trying to do the same thing, but you don't know which one's the winner.
Yeah.
And so it's like
It's emerging.
it's
for sure.
emerging. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting. I saw there was a non-alcoholic Super Bowl commercial for one of the big beer brands recently, and I thought that was super interesting.
Oh,
Like,
which one? Do you know?
I forget who it was, but like 3-4 years ago, that would never be a thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of speaks to it's growing.
Michelob Ultra is making a big play. It looks like they're spending all sorts of money on like every single sports
Yeah.
thing ever. Podcasts. It's wild how much money they're spending to try to get.
Yeah, marketing dollars in alcohol is wild. I mean, there's a reason why all the Super Bowl commercials, a lot of them are alcohol companies or beverage companies or something that you can eat or can drink.
Yeah. Do you guys have a favorite Super Bowl commercial?
I don't know, actually. The Doritos one was not that good this year, I felt like.
Okay.
It wasn't memorable. I don't even remember what
It
it
let
was.
you down. It let you down.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I was at.
I usually like the not the Bud Light, the Budweiser
The
ones.
Budweiser ones are pretty good.
But this one was like, it was pretty good.
It was all right. Yeah.
Didn't make me emotional.
No.
I feel like usually they make you emotional. They're like America.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Where do you guys want to take this company? So it's 2025. It's Q1.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've done all your planning for this year. What's on deck for this year?
Yeah, honestly, expanding into the LA market is really our biggest
Smart.
our biggest goal. Just because we think our brand will resonate so much with the LA area as it does in San Diego.
Yeah.
San Diego is obviously our home market, so we put a lot of time and energy into that, and we've seen how people have reacted to it and they're very receptive toward it. And I think LA is just almost a bigger version of that to some degree.
I think from a branding point of view, we're trying to create a community. And last year we did this, but I think this year we're trying to collaborate with as many brands and people as possible, because I think in this current age, branding is really about creating these mini communities.
Yeah.
And the creator wants to become the brand, and the brand wants to become the creator, I feel like, you know. And we're creating our content, but we're also having other people create content too, and that align with our brand. And you need many people to tell the story, and it's all about the community, really.
It feels like a pool party to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
we're here.
We got to throw one.
Like honestly, like that's
Yeah.
what comes to mind. I think the name Suntide. So you're thinking sunny days.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. It's got that beach vibe to it. It's got like
Easy to
every
drink.
LA pool party vibe.
Yeah.
The ladies will like it because it's like, you know, it's good. It's like it's good. It's
playful.
It's playful.
Exactly.
And so
Yeah.
there's like that side of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like light and easy and kind of nice.
There's
That's
also-
how my brain operates. Like
bubbly.
I just want this at like,
Champagne.
I can think about so many places in LA, the Mondrian Pool, the Standard Hotel. Like it just feels like y'all could easily do activations on the pool side.
Absolutely.
Drinking.
And
I
there's
think so.
some other angles that we've been trying to take and like to follow that kind of outdoor vibe is golf courses.
Oh yeah.
You know, people would start drinking at 8 a.m. when they're going golf on the weekends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our golf courses are best accounts.
Really?
Really,
Some
yeah.
of them.
Some of them in different states, but the hotter states, the states where the weather's warmer,
Yeah.
golf courses, they love mimosas, and they want something convenient, no glass.
The no glass is big, like for boats too. Like anywhere there's like a
Yeah,
big
boats
boat
are
culture,
perfect.
you can't bring glass on a boat usually.
Yeah.
So this is the perfect substitute for that.
Oh,
Yep.
that's so true. Golf. I wouldn't have thought about it.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, mimosas, golfing, bring
Yeah.
it on.
Yeah. Peach is your number one SKU.
Yeah, yeah. Peach has been our.
This is relatively
bestseller.
new, and we've gotten great feedback on it. So we've
Your,
kind of
your variety pack.
yeah, the variety
Yeah.
pack.
Okay.
I will say about the peach, originally we actually had to reformulate it early days, because our orange was our best seller.
Okay.
And we realized that our peach was lagging, and there's something that maybe we could do to improve it. And we developed the formula and the product, and we realized we wanted to tweak the ratio, and we did. And fortunately, I'm glad we did, because
Yeah.
it ended up really helping us in the long run. And I guess my message to that would be, don't be afraid to go back in, get your hands dirty on your product, and
Yeah.
if you need to change something, change it.
Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest things I learned in college was like in all the business classes that I took was like all the big companies nowadays, like you can't be afraid to pivot, right? Mm-hmm. Like even if it's a small pivot, like nothing's set in stone. Like it might seem like like you had this direction that you wanted to go, but if it's not working out, you can just change it a little bit and go this direction.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm sure you get people ask you the question all the time too, like, why isn't another company doing this or something?
Yeah.
I hate that question as an entrepreneur because it's just like they're too busy.
Yeah.
Like it's the same reason you're not doing beer. Like you
it's
your own
a loaded question.
things to focus on.
It's a loaded question.
How much is it? How do you guys price it?
Yeah, so our target to retail is $9.99, but it's $9.99 to $11.99 depending on the season, the market, the
per
place.
can?
For a 4-pack.
For the 4-pack.
And then the 8-pack goes from $18.99 to $21.99.
Okay, so about $20 for the
8-pack, and then $10 for the 4-pack. Yeah, and it's 5.5%, so a little bit more than a White Claw. Yeah. You drink a few of these, you'll definitely feel the buzz.
Yeah. It's really good. I really appreciate you guys coming on the podcast.
We love hearing that.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Where can people follow? Where can people buy the product?
So we actually sell online on our website, but we sell in stores.
That's just Suntide.com?
Yep, Suntide.com.
Drinksuntide.com.
Okay.
We have a store locator on our website where you can find all the stores that carry Suntide. And we sell in San Diego, in multiple states, but check out our store locator and check it out.
Yeah, and then all our socials are the same. Drink Suntide on Instagram.
Drink Suntide.
It's a great product. I love it. Your PR team is staring at us saying we're out of time. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
That's easy. This is really good.
Yeah, thank you.
That was fun.
Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, share with your friends, your family, or anyone you might think might benefit from the conversation we've had today. And if you haven't already, please take a moment to leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. We'd greatly appreciate it. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more people who can benefit from our discussions. The best way to stay connected with us and get the latest updates on future episodes is through our social media channels. You can find us at Startup Storefront. We'll be back next Tuesday with another great episode. See you then.